The following podcast is brought to you by Iconic Nation Media.
I'm Jen Rouse, and this is Malibu and Me. After becoming an empty nester and returning to Malibu, I'm learning what it means to begin again. Please join me each week as I unpack the messy, meaningful, and magical parts of midlife transformation. A new chapter written by me for me. This is Malibu and Me. Well, welcome back, everybody, to Malibu and Me. Today, I have a very special guest who I had the pleasure of getting my human design done this past week. And what an interesting thing this is. Like, I want you to tell the viewers, like, what this is, because I've been really big into astrology,
right,
and recently been doing a lot of deep diving into spirituality that way,
right,
rather than religion,
right.
And I have found such correlations with just my personality and my life and some of my choices. And this was so interesting to help me with like my decision making. And it was like, wow, I've been ruminating and thinking about this for the last few days. So this is Lauren, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So how do you start with this?
So I like to say astrology, human design is like astrology on steroids.
Okay.
Because it is a self-discovery system that incorporates astrology, the I Ching, which shows us like our different gifts and strengths that we have, which is like Chinese theory, the chakra system,
which I love,
and the tree of life from Kabbalah. And it like really combines all these teachings, and with your birth date, time, and place, it pulls up your body graph chart, and it shows us how you are uniquely wired, how you're meant to use your energy that is very specific to you, how you're meant to make decisions that like are best for you, your purpose, your life purpose, your personality, and then how to, live in alignment, and those signs of when you're living in alignment, and then the sign of when you're out of alignment, and then how to readjust. And it's just it's very cool. And it really resonated with me when I first discovered it, because society makes you feel like there's only one path to success.
Yeah.
And, growing up, I never felt like I fit in, school just wasn't for me, group sports, like they weren't for me. There's so many things that like, I felt like I was going against the grain every time, somebody tried to put me in a box. And so when I found out about human design, I was like, oh, you mean we're meant to, find success differently? Each of us has our own path, and I really loved, like, I think I was telling you this the other day. I was like, for most of my life, I think I was living my design, and my family would always say like, oh, like, you're just lucky, like things just work out for you, you know, but because I was making questionable decisions and risky moves. And when I learned about my human design, I was like, wait a second, like I was just living my design this whole time. It wasn't until I tried to like adult that I started to feel tired and frustrated, and that I was just like going up, a hill full of like quicksand, and I just wasn't moving. And I was listening to a podcast, and they were going over human design. I couldn't even finish the podcast. I had to pause it, and I was like, I need to know what I am.
You did.
Yeah.
You wanted to do the deep dive.
I had to do the deep dive. And so I was like, okay, like, do I need to go do a reading now? Okay, I'm going to do a reading. And then I'm like, it's not enough. I need to know what my friends are, what my husband is, like what my like kids are, like so that I can help support them. Like, how do they operate? And it's like saved multiple fights with my husband. It's really helped me like raise like my girls, how like, what works for them, because we all parent on either how we were raised or what worked for us. And that's different for everybody, right?
Right.
And, giving my friends grace, and also knowing that like I was surrounded, I'll go over the energy types in a minute, but I was surrounded by so many manifesting generators that I couldn't keep up with, all of my mom friends. And then I was like, well, wait a second, like, should I be doing this too. Like I felt like maybe I wasn't doing enough, you know, and once I found out that I was just like, I was a generator and I'm not meant to do all that, I could like release, you know?
It's true. I mean, since I've met with you, and you can use me as the guinea pig of like talking about what I learned. I mean, we can talk about it together, but how it does, you think something is wrong with you, you know? 'Cause I've been always told like I'm so emotional.
Right. But you are emotional.
Right. And that's okay. But to learn to, you know, use that emotional part of me and be aware of it. So I'm not immediately reacting, because that's, you know, like.
Right. Because we're taught to like put a story around our emotions. And so 50% of us have our emotional center filled in and 50% of us are clear. So you have yours filled in, meaning that like you have a consistent like emotional wave. And what that means is like you can wake up happy for no reason, or you could wake up sad for no reason. But, you know, we're taught that there has to be a reason why we're feeling something, you know, when really like you're given these emotions for like emotional intelligence to kind of help the rest of us like feel something. Because if you didn't feel anything and I was just me, I'm designed to be cool, calm, and collected. Like I wouldn't know anything. I wouldn't know how to feel certain highs or certain lows, but because I can feel off of you and really amplify it, you know? So actually the non-emotionals end up being more emotional, because I could feel that you're sad and you could be like 2 out of 10 sad, and I can feel you at an 8 and I'd be like, what's wrong? Or I could just pick up on that and then be like, why am I feeling low? And then I'll start to put a story to it, you know? And I'm like, no, I just felt that from somebody. And I can like release it. But for you, it's like being that emotional, it's like the universe is like a DJ, right? And it's like some days it's playing a happy song and you wake up and you're happy for no reason and you put your rose-colored glasses on and you're like, everything is great. You start saying yes to things that maybe you wouldn't say yes to. Like, and then other days like you could be blue and you put on your blue color glasses and everything just looks low or flat and, you know, you feel uninspired. You're saying no to things that maybe you would like to do. So the emotionals, they say to wait like 24 hours to really feel out this like emotional intelligence that you were given as a gift, you know, just to notice things. And then once you're like about 24 hours, you can hit that cool, calm, collected place. And then you check in with your emotions to say like, well, does that thing like make me happy? Do I feel like a sweet emotion, or do I feel like low and flat? And like, then that's how you decide, you know? But I think we were talking about this too the other day. I'm really curious about how many people have their emotional center filled in that are on antidepressants. Because if you attach yourself to this low emotion and like you hold on to it, you can stay there a lot longer, right? So when my kids are like, Mom, like I'm just feeling sad. And I was like, that's okay. You know, I'm like, feel it. Just notice what it's like to go through today like a little blue. You know, it'll pass. And there's no reason. You know, like if something didn't directly happen to you, then just like
and sometimes
release.
It does, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes it does,
Sometimes I'm picking up on just outside things. You know, I'm really empathic, so it's like
you are really intuitive. That was another part of your chart.
I feel intuitively what somebody else might be feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like good to know that I'm not crazy.
No.
You know?
And that you don't have to attach a story to it of like why you're feeling this.
Right.
And you can use it more as like wisdom and intelligence, and you're just gaining information.
Yes. So explain the colors and the chakras and I mean, we'll attach the chart, I guess. So this is the chart. But,
Yeah.
And I don't know how we show that, but you know, maybe you can help explain like my chart for an example.
So this is what your body graph looks like, right? And so the energy centers here where you have no color, this is where you don't have consistent energy, and this is where you could pick up a lot of outside conditioning.
In my mind, which is great.
That's the thing. It's like this tool is so nice because it's going to help you decondition who you thought you needed to be and get back to like who you are, you know? And a lot of times like it's going to really resonate with you. And sometimes if you're so far off and so far removed, you're like, that couldn't possibly be me. You know, it's only happened to like a few people, but most people resonate. So the first one is your crown chakra, and that is your inspiration. So Jen here, gains her inspiration from the outside. So you're not going to just think of how to decorate your living room by closing your eyes. Like, you're going to need to look on Pinterest or notice something, you know,
see pictures.
Yeah. You're going to need to get out to be inspired. But I like to say it's like you can also feel really burnt out from this place. And you can take in too much information. So, you know, at a certain point, you got to stop scrolling, or else you're going to start to feel really kind of like overwhelmed, because this is one of your pressure centers. So this is when like you're going to like, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go decompress. I'm going to put that screen down. You know, like I'm going to stop reading that book. That could even happen with like reading too many like self-help books or whatever.
Yes.
Like we talked about that too, where it's like you actually are very wise. So take a break. Think about like your inner wisdom, right? So the next one is your mind, and you are meant to have an open mind, meaning that you're meant to kind of listen and change your perspective and say like, oh, okay, like I see your point of view, and I'm going to now maybe hear what you have to say and kind of play around. Like, you're not going to have like a fixed opinion and really double down on it. I always say like these people really like shouldn't be talking politics, you know, like double down on your like point of view and on your side. The next is your throat. So this is where you really shouldn't be talking politics. So this is your communication, right? So
Open throat.
Yeah, your open throat. So you can be a voice for others, but it's not, you don't have a consistent voice to speak like for yourselves, your wants, your desires. Like that's going to come more through actions and your other energy centers. And like when you do have this filled in, if somebody had this filled in, this is like this is why manifestors, they all have their throat filled in, because they're meant to speak things into existence, right? They're meant to say their wants, their dislikes and all that. And that's how they're like creating movement. So with this one, it's really helpful for people to understand that if you are in an argument with somebody, this is my favorite. It's helped so many of my friends and my clients. But if you're in an argument with somebody and you have an open throat, like try your best to not say, well, I feel like this and I want this and all that. You want to look at it as like you're the mediator, to be like, this is what I see happening. And this is what I think we should do, right? Like,
take a step back.
And also communicate it like that, and use more actions instead of just, I need you to hear me and I need you to validate what I'm saying. It's kind of like, okay, like let's take a moment, like, and I want to explain to you what I think should happen, right? And then your next one is your this is your sense of direction. And when you have this filled in, you have a solid sense of direction. You know what kind of like works for you, where you want to go in life. When you have this clear, you could be a little bit more of a chameleon. Like I have this clear. And I always say it's like, if I'm trying to force, like if I tried to force Jen to come to a party with me and you're like, I don't want to go to that party. And I'm like, it'll be fun. It's going to be great. And we get to that party and you're like, I still don't want to be at this party. And I told you I didn't want to be at this party.
I know what
When you could force me to go to that party and I'd be like, I don't really want to go. And I get there and I'm like, just, okay, I'm making the best of it.
So you're more open-minded. Right.
I'm more open and like that sense of direction, like, okay, like I could be a little bit more of a chameleon, where you're very much like, I know who I am. I know what like I want, right? Like my entire family has this colored in. So it's like when they say that they don't want to do something, I kind of know what I'm up against, you know? The next is your ego. And this little box right here, only 30% have it filled in. So you're pretty rare in that sense. And this is your motivation. This is like your willpower. And like you would be that person on Instagram, like killing it every day. And I'd be the one that doesn't have it filled in and be like, God, how do they do that? Like, because my willpower and my motivation comes and goes, and yours can stay consistent. You can pull from it whenever you need to.
Mm-hmm.
I
do have it.
Yeah. I was also saying this could be like a very like materialistic center as well. So it's like your ego and your heart. So if you see like a bag or a house or a car that's just going to make you feel more like you, and make you feel good, it's like, go get it. Yeah. I'm like, you don't want to do it like so people will think of you a certain way. It's like, no, it's just like your inner, like, that's going to make me feel good, that thing. Your next one, let's go. So we went over your emotional center, like yours is filled in. The next one is your instincts, this little box.
The
like
intuition.
And your intuition center. So yours is filled in, meaning that you have the ability to hear that intuition, that little whisper of a voice that comes to you one time with an inner knowing, and so what you want to do when you have the center filled in is start to build up trust with it. So I like to say, open up a notes in your phone and start writing down like what you think your decision would be or what you think is right, or little things like that to start building up trust. And then you're going to check in, with your emotions. You're going to wait for that emotional wave, and then you're going to check in with your gut. So the gut is your sacral center, and that's this little orange box right here. And this is like your wants, your desires. This is where generators and manifesting generators have that consistent battery. So when you are like following your wants and your desires and you're doing something that like lights you up, this is when you can create this endless ball of energy, right? So if you're doing something that you love, you can go all day long, right?
Yes, that's true.
And then if you're not, you're feeling tired, you're feeling flat, because you're losing that energy. You're not like using this center in the right way. And we'll get back into that because we should go over the energy, the energy types.
Yeah, the different
right?
types for sure.
So the generators and manifesting generators are the only ones that have this sacral center filled in.
Okay.
And then the last one is your root chakra. This is your pressure center. People who have this filled in, like you and I, have an easier time feeling grounded, knowing, like trusting our timing on things, not feeling like, oh, we've got to get something done.
Yes.
We can kind of like stay kind of collected when, shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Where people feel better when they're around us because we're like, okay, like, let's just look at the situation and we'll figure it out, instead of like, oh my goodness.
I think that's really true about me too.
Yeah. I think that's why people do feel so comfortable around you.
Yeah.
You have a lot of good traits. But
Thank
I want to
you.
go
That's sweet.
into,
Yeah. So
let's go into like the energy
Yes.
centers. So, or not the energy centers, the energy types.
Okay. Yeah.
So the starting point in human design, it's kind of like your sun sign, like whether you're like a Pisces or, Scorpio, is your energy type. And there are 5 different energy types.
Okay.
And I'm going to kind of like explain a little bit of what they are and then like how we all kind of work together. Mm-hmm. So the first one is manifestors. And manifestors, their role is to kind of get the ball rolling for us. They are here to spark that fire and create that movement. And we are either meant to join in on what they're doing. We're meant to, get our feathers kind of ruffled by what they're doing, be bothered. But either way, that's some movement. Or like the people who aren't meant to kind of get on their train are just going to feel nothing. They're like indifferent, but their role is to kind of follow these urges that are sent to them, and they're meant to inform us so we know what they're up to, and that way we can join in or
they are like
create
a lot of inventors and are just
so they used to be like all of the leaders like
Wow.
in the world, you know,
Wow.
we're all manifestors, because just by following their own urges and then informing, you know, they're just like the natural leaders. So they're 9%. They're 9% of us.
That low.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So it's like I have like a manifestor in my circle, you know, and I'm always like, that was a good idea. Can I come along to that? Or, you know, or if she
Right.
says something that like I don't like, I'm like, that kind of bothered me, but maybe it's like because I want to do this, you know, like, but she's sparking something in me, like to create some movement.
I like it.
And so then the next one is generators, and that's what we are. And we're here to create good energy, generate good energy. And the way that we do that is like by doing what we love, what lights us up. Like I was saying, like, isn't that easy? People are like, what do you mean? We're only supposed to do what makes us happy?
Pretty much.
Yeah. And what happens is that when we're doing what we love, we create so much like juicy, sparkly energy that it spills out into the rest of us, and we energize people without even trying, you know? It's like when you go to lunch with your friend and you leave that lunch and you're like, I had such a great time, you know, like I love being around them. They make me feel so good. And then like you go to the store and then you're like really nice to, you know, the cashier, and you have a nice exchange there. And then they don't even know, but like they've just like,
Gotten
you know,
a
gotten
taste of
some
your
energy, you
Yeah.
know, and you start to spread that. And we all know that like when we're not doing what we love, like that energy like really falls flat, and then like you know, you can feel really unhappy and low, and people can also feel that too. So generators are 33%.
Okay.
Then we've got manifesting generators, 37%. And they're a combination of the two, so they're
Wow.
like the hybrids, and they are here to they're here to do it all. They're like superhuman. So as long as they're doing
their
what they
capes on.
love, yeah, they can. They're multi-passionate people. So they're meant to, you know, do what they love, but also inform us so that we can kind of go along too. And they're multi-passionate people because unlike us generators, where we could do something that we love and we're probably going to stay kind of close to that lane, you know, like if you love flowers and maybe you're a florist, you know, like you're supposed to help people, you know, so you kind of create something in that like wellness space, or
That's what I like. Yeah.
yeah. So we're sticking to like our lane when, you know, you could have a manifesting generator like Jessica Alba, and she's like, well, I'm going to be a famous actress and I'm going to, you know, build an awesome company, you know, and then
do
I'm
the
going to
baby
give back
products
to
and then go
charity. And you're like,
Right.
and then,
Yes.
you know, when we're kind of like A, B, C, D, and kind of following a little path. I have a friend who is really like killing it in marketing right now. And she's a manifesting generator. And, you know, it would make sense. Society would have her thinking like, I should just focus on growing this business. But she had kind of a spark and she wanted to like start DJing, you know? And so she got a little rig and, you know, like, but I'm like, she's following her design, because you're like, if I don't play with this, like, who knows? So what you're supposed to do is like, when you're given these wants, these urges, like you're meant to carry them out and not question them, because the universe can't be like, Jen, I'm going to need you to do X, Y, and Z
Right.
here. It's only going to send you these wants, you know, for you to follow. And your job for all of us is to like not question it, and then you'll see. So, you know, her husband was like, this is silly, like your little hobby. And she's like, we'll see. And so she started diving in, and she's still doing her marketing, but she's like literally booking DJing gigs.
And loves it.
Loves it.
Yeah.
And who knows what it'll, you know, turn into.
Right.
So she's the manifesting generator, you know, so is McCall.
Yes,
your
McCall is
sister-in-law.
one. Oh,
and
yeah.
it feels really good to know that like we're not meant to keep up with these people.
It does.
I feel
It
better.
does, because I always felt like, man, how does she do all that she does in one day?
Yeah.
I think I'll open a fitness studio. Yep. Now I'm going to expand to 2. You know what? Maybe I'll have 4.
Yeah.
And then I'll do a brand of whatever. And, you know, I'll help you design your whole house.
And I'm going
I'll
to
help
make sure
you move.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like, okay,
We're
you're
gonna
a
do
decorator. Yeah, now we're doing mahjong. We're going to start mahjong. Are you doing that?
I will learn. I will learn. I'll get there.
These are one of the things that I'm like, my wave, yes, mahjong. And then I'm like, do I really want to do mahjong? But the manifest generator is telling me it's going to be so good for my mental health and to be, meeting new people. She's like, Jen, it's going to get you out of your box. You're going to do this. It's a great group of women. You're going to love it.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm also going to stay in my lane. But what are your best friend sentences? Your emotionals, right? You're like, let me get back to you on that. You want to give yourself like 24
I already committed
hours.
Before I knew my wave.
Let me sleep on it. See how I feel tomorrow.
Step back. So that was yes, you taught me, like you told me that. I thought it was really interesting. Another thing you told me, finish the different types.
Sorry, I know.
Yeah. We're going off topic.
But one thing, like if you think about generators and manifesting generators are like 70% of the world. And we're supposed to do what lights us up so we can really generate that good sparkly energy. Imagine like there's so many of us that are conditioned to push through like a career that we don't want to. We're listening to the news all the time and that's really bringing us down. We're really not taking care and managing our energy to make sure that it sparkles and energizes. So it's like us like generators and manifesting generators, like we have a lot of work to do and a lot of deconditioning to get back to that so that we can really move this world along, right?
Yeah.
So then we have projectors, and they are 20% of the population, and they are here to be our guides. They have a certain way of seeing things that can help us be really more efficient with our energy. So they're really good at seeing new systems, new ways of doing things, like creating new ways of thinking and seeing and being. And they are now the new CEOs of the world because they can really help us become more efficient. And that's pretty cool. Like Obama was a projector, like my cousin who is like, a big exec, like he's a projector and it's very interesting.
Yeah.
But they don't have the battery that we do. So their toughest thing is people are always like, well, what'd you do today? And oh, why can't you keep up? And they're feeling like tired all the time, right? Because they're trying to keep up with us generators and manifesting generators. And it's like, no, like you actually benefit from naps. It says so. It's like,
you have to rest.
Because they're meant to only put 2 to 3 hours of like hard output, like work. When the rest of us can, do 8 hours at a job and feel like fine as long as we're loving it. But no, like 2 to 3 hours hard output work, whatever that is for them. And then the rest of the time, they're kind of supposed to like sit back and really try to hone in on like their point of view and their perspective and looking at those systems, right? Like, and it's usually what they're going to thrive at is something that really fascinates them.
Wow.
And that's pretty cool. But a lot of my projector friends are thriving now after COVID because they can work from home and they don't have somebody like over their shoulder because they can get so much done more than we can. They can get that done in 2 to 3 hours and then be able to like go to lunch with a friend, like do something that makes them feel good. So we really need them as like the birds on the branch, just helping guide us, right? And then we have reflectors, which I found one today.
No way. Do you love finding these people?
I love it. I love finding a reflector. They're 1% of the population. So they're super rare. And I'm always curious what their experience is like. So their energy centers, they have 0 color. They have no consistent energy.
Wow.
So they are taking in all of the energy around us. So they are like taking in all this information, all this wisdom, which if you look at it as a blessing, you can know that you're feeling everything from the outside. So that can turn into knowledge, right?
Wow.
And so they are, they like measure the health of the community because they can walk into a room and be like, something's off, you know? Or what really feels good to them. So they have the potential to be the wisest of us all, but they're chameleons. So the hardest part of being a reflector is more like we really pride ourselves by knowing who we are, right? Like, who are you? It's like Jen has a very clear sense of who she is, but a reflector, they've got all their centers clear. So they're meant to be
Whatever.
Wow.
Like
they're meant to be a chameleon, and they can try on new things, but their main goal is to really stay in those environments that feel good to them. Like there is a reflector teenager that I came across the other day, and somebody called him a poser because, he'll be a little bit like this person one day, a little bit like this one day. And I'm like, no, you're just living your design. Like it's so good. Keep trying it on. Like the biggest sign for them living in alignment is being surprised, like by life and something new.
And trying all different things.
Yeah. So the way they all kind of work together, it's like you have the manifester that's going to be the spark. Then you've got the generators and the manifesting generators who are meant to like build that fire and keep it going. Then you've got the projector who is going to show us how to keep that fire going in the most efficient way, right? And then you have the reflector who's like, that feels good,
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, I like it here. Or if something's off, then it helps us know like what to work on.
Right.
Right.
It's pretty amazing.
I know. Isn't it fun?
It's really fascinating.
I was like, there's so much information like in here. Like we could see whether you're meant to be like consistent or disciplined, whether you're meant to like focus like really laser focus, or if you're meant to look at the broad spectrum of things, your manifestation style, like whether you go into more feelings or if you're supposed to get really specific with the details. You're supposed to feel
how you handle conflict, how you make decisions, it kind of went into everything. And then you also brought into something that was really interesting, like my digestion, like how I can eat, like I can't just go through a specific diet for me. Like I have to do what feels good,
right?
And eating in a big group of people may not be good for me. And you know what? That's really true.
Really? Yeah. You felt that.
I felt that.
Yeah.
Nervous or like
you're so sensitive
Yep.
that like if you're picking up on everything from everybody else.
digest.
Yeah.
So eat when eat when you feel it and when you're hungry, and
Yeah.
that's been really true too.
Yeah.
I've taken away a lot of the things you said to me that were so great.
That's so good.
So great.
Yeah. And then like your environment, everybody's got like their own environment.
Yes.
That they really thrive in or can help kind of bring out that inspiration when you're feeling a lack of it.
Yes.
Like I just think it's so helpful. There's so many things that you can take away from your chart to try to implement into your life. Like also the sense of alignment. Like yours is satisfaction. Same with me, right? When we just feel like, oh, that really felt good, and at the end of the day, you could be like your head hits the pillow and you're like, what a nice day. Like that's that sense of satisfaction, right?
Yes.
But I was explaining to you the other day, my favorite is actually knowing what I'm supposed to feel when I'm out of alignment. And that is that frustration. That's that I'm tired. I feel stuck, right? Because then no matter what I'm doing, even if I think I like it, I'm like, oh, that's my sign to put this down and pivot for a minute. And then I can come back.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really, really
Not
helpful.
pushing through. Yeah.
Yeah. When before, like I was saying when I was doing that human design workshop and I'm writing down all these notes, all this information, and I was starting to get like really tired and I'm like really unmotivated, and I kind of had like a deadline, it's like the next day, and I was like, you really need to finish this. And all of my friends were going out and I'm like, Lauren, you really should finish this. And then I heard it. I heard the word should, and I heard what I wanted to do. And I'm like, well, Lauren, you're actually doing your human design workshop, so you should probably listen to your human design. And so I was like, you know what? I closed the computer. I went out with my friends. I was re-energized, re-motivated. I got some inspiration. And then I came back and I finished it in like, an hour, when I would have probably sat there for like 3 hours just staring at the screen.
Right.
But it's just little things like that, knowing, what my inner guidance is telling me so that I can really start to listen to it.
Yeah.
And it's taken practice too, because,
some of we talked about like having some of the low days, like just leaning into that.
Yeah.
It's okay to just have a low day and
Yeah.
be lazy and not,
Right.
you know, binge
Yeah.
watch a show or whatever you're going to do. Like we
I
always
used to
have that,
feel bad. I
that
don't feel
guilt
bad
in your
anymore.
head,
Right.
like, you know, or the days for me, like when I don't want to exercise, you know, like
Right.
I'm like, okay, I really don't feel like running today, or I
Yeah.
don't feel like, you know,
Yeah.
and getting to, you know, just be, you know what, that's okay. Just
Right. Right.
regroup.
It really makes you feel better when it's like, this is like your permission slip
Yeah.
to be like, oh, I'm not meant to be consistent. I don't have to work out today.
I'm not consistent. Yeah. Right. But then I've got the willpower one.
You do.
So, you know,
Yeah. Like you're like, if I want to get it done, I could get it done.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But
Yes.
starting to pay attention to all these little things, like our body has so much wisdom in it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like just paying attention.
And it's so cool, the astrology of the day that we were born and what planets were in what, you know, what house, and all of these things make us up to who we are and our
Right.
personalities and our,
Right.
I mean, it's pretty fascinating.
It really is. It's, I'm like, I'm always a skeptic, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, this sounds bizarre. You know what I mean? When they get into like the science of it, which like some of my male clients, including my husband, it's like,
He wants the science of
he
it.
wants to know. I was like, okay, well, there's these things called neutrinos and they carry information. Like,
Yeah.
so there's all these things and like quantum physics and all that I get, like, it makes sense, but
Yeah.
you know, it can really sound woo woo. And I'm like, I'll give it a shot, but I'm a skeptic.
Yeah.
And this is they call it like the human design experiment, because this was really created only like in the 80s.
Okay.
You know, I mean, granted, it's with 4 modalities that have been around for
Kabbalah
thousands of
is-
years.
right,
You know
right.
what I mean? So not all of it's just new, but the way he combined this, you're kind of like, wait, what? You
Yeah.
know? But it's a human design experiment, and so many people have been like really resonating with it.
Yeah.
And I think that it is so helpful. Like, I want everybody to know what their human design is, because if you think about it, like, you know, when you get into like, everybody wants to manifest, right? But manifestation takes, I like to say, 3 things, like space. So decluttering your bubble, knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to, right? You're going to declutter your bubble because we all like to be busy and fill it all in. But creating that space so that the universe has a place to drop things in for you, right? But then like the second is alignment. And this is the best way to get aligned, knowing what feels good for you and giving you the permission to like really listen to that inner knowing again, which we sometimes have gotten so far away from, right? With society. I think everybody's a little bit more open to it now. So it's nice that like we have these tools. And then like the third is gratitude and being like really grateful for all the little things, which, you know, if in the morning, if, you know, you want that cup of coffee and just like having that cup of coffee can light you up and you feel really grateful. You're like, oh, I love this, you know, and just like staying in the gratitude for the little things and just noticing what like lights you up throughout the day. But that's how you become like a magnet. When you're aligned, like things will come to you, you know,
it's amazing how that is.
Like the things that you want, synchronicities happen, you know, the right people are drawn to you because your aura is just, you know, it's light, it's bright, it's vibrant. And
Yeah.
as generators and manifesting generators, like we are magnets, like, and so the more that we're aligned, like more opportunities are going to come to us and stuff. And it's amazing because I think if we can all kind of play our own part, you know, like as a society, we're all going to be a lot more harmonious. And if we could be more happy people make people happy, you know, and unhappy people make people unhappy. So,
Right.
you know, it can really only benefit everybody.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting, great thing to know. And I do think we are energetic beings. I mean, we were talking about like women and the moon and our cycles. And
Right.
I mean, you think about tides, you know, we're all water.
Right.
We're 90% water. Like,
Right.
of course, we're going to be moved by the planets and the, you know, so it made sense to me. But, and
Yeah.
I think knowing some of the things about my personality and finding this information out is
Right.
so, it was almost like I got like to give a deep sigh, like,
Right.
okay, I'm
Yeah.
not a reactive person, you know,
Right.
like I can reel this in. I
Right.
can be my emotional side is a good thing.
Right.
You know, I'm
Right.
really in touch with who I am, and, you know.
Like looking at it as a blessing instead of like, whoa, what is that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And also looking for reasons.
Right.
'Cause, you know.
Our hormones.
Yeah. Well, that definitely did do something during menopause. You haven't hit menopause yet. Wait till you hit that. That's fun.
Everybody's in the pre-menopause, that perimenopause.
Wait till you get it's terrible. It's so terrible. Anyway. Well, how can people find you? Because I loved our meeting, and I think that, you know, it's what you're doing is like your little generator. You're giving the gift, and, you know, I'm going to try. I know you teach at Mindery in Malibu, so
Yes.
I'm coming next week, so I'll definitely talk about that. And
Yes.
you do sound baths and all that stuff. You
Sound
told me
baths,
that.
EFT.
Yes, I'm into all of that. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's really good
Yeah.
to again bring alignment.
Yeah, so if you go to my website, humandesignmalibu.com, you can look up your free chart, and then you can see what energy type you are. And same with my Instagram,
Okay,
Human Design Malibu.
I love it.
But I really wanted to like combine these things, like all of the modalities that I really love, as like using it as like a custom kind of coaching.
Okay.
So using your human design as self-discovery, using EFT to get rid of the limiting beliefs and the conditioning, right? Reiki to like kind of recalibrate all these like energy centers and promote like self-healing, because we all have it within us.
Yeah.
And then sound healing, which just really helps to recalibrate your body, and you have nothing to do but just to relax and feel it, you know, because we are made of water, and sound travels 4 times as fast, you know, with water. Yeah. So I just love like the sound bowls, but I find it like so helpful to really put in, to put these modalities together. And I want to like empower you all to be able to do this yourself. You know what I mean? Like I love like giving people the tools, like not to sit there and just rely on me, you know?
Well,
it's
right.
like, no, like let me show you how, you know, you're meant to operate, and then like, let's get rid of these things. But then, you know, you're also learning how to do EFT on yourself, you know, and really being able to like recenter and like just reconnect with yourself.
I love it.
So yeah. I
Well,
love
you
it.
know
It's
me,
been so
I'm all
fun.
in.
I know.
I'm all in. So this is like sold. I mean, McCall told me, and I was like, oh, I'm in. That's so my wheelhouse. So anyway, well, I loved it, and I really appreciate your time today. And you guys know how to find Lauren, and I am going to go to your class next Thursday because I do need to incorporate some of the grounding things. I do a lot of the walking, which helps, and but centering yourself. And I've worked on the gratitude thing. It's really been, since I moved, it's been really easy for me to do. I just drive by the ocean and I'm like, look at where we live.
Yeah, I know.
Look at the sky. It's like somebody took a paintbrush and just, you know, I mean, how can you not be spiritual?
I
know. I mean, look at our earth. Anyway, so
I love it. We are very
that's where I am
lucky.
right now in this journey, you know, my new portal.
Yeah,
But, so
Now we're just going to give your nervous system some love.
and that'll be great.
Yeah.
And that'll be great. Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for coming.
Thank you for
thank you,
having
everybody. And we'll see you next time on Malibu and Me. Thank you for listening to Malibu and Me. Make sure to follow the show at Malibu and Me Podcast. And if this episode resonated, I'd be so grateful for a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Here's to growing, healing, and beginning again together.